Hey, welcome folks. I'm continuing on my Keepsake box here. I'm just going to start my lid. Now the lid's a pretty basic rectangle, and it has a little rabbit to keep it on the box. But what I thought I'd do to fancy it up and give you guys some more skills is to make you glue in another piece of wood or more than one piece of wood into the lid. So basically our goal is, our rough length, we're going to start with about a 12-inch piece, and we want at least about a 6-inch piece at the end to make it the finished length and width of this finished box. So I'm going to get a piece of cherry, which is what I was originally working with my sides and ends. So I'm using cherry, the same as my sides and ends. And then I'm going to cut a 12-inch piece. And then I need some other scraps of lumber to put in there and kind of figure out how I want my knob and my lid to look. I think I'm going to put a thin stripe of paduck in, and either a similar width stripe or a little bit wider stripe of walnut. And I might do them at a slight angle, but there's almost an infinite number of possibilities of ways to do glue ups really creatively. So look online or see me if you have some ideas. The reason we need about 12 inches to get our finished length is you always need about 12 inches to run through the planer. Any shorter and it just won't plane properly. And now I want to plane this flat and get a square edge, but I don't want to plane it to thickness yet, just flat enough and get a square edge so I can table saw it into pieces before I glue in some other pieces. If your piece is smaller than 6 inches, that's okay. You can glue in boards or glue multiple boards together to eventually get a piece that's 12 by 6, even if it's a few pieces of wood glued together. Now the simplest way would just be to cut it apart straight and glue in a piece of wood, or cut it apart twice and glue in 2 pieces of wood or more. But I want to make sure that I'm always gluing square edges together, and I don't care about the very last outside edge being square yet, because I'm going to re-square my board after I glue things together. So I have these 2 pieces pretty square, and I'm ready to cut the one walnut. I'm going to cut this apart, but instead of cutting it straight, I decided that I want to cut it at a bit of an angle to make things interesting. So I think I kind of have my card of what I want. My pieces aren't the same thickness yet, but after I glue them together and plane them, then they will be the same thickness. I can get them all to finished thickness, because they're all a little bigger then my finished thickness right now. One piece of walnut I have, it has a biscuit slot in it because it's a reused piece. So I'm just going to plane it instead of table sawing it. And when you get to working with wood that's a bit skinnier and stuff, sometimes you can kind of mix up your width and your thickness, and that's okay as long as you know in the end how you're going to glue it together, and you keep your piece nice and square. After playing with the angles a bit, I decided I want to do one more stripe with walnut. So I'm just going to cut that once more, and then I'll have make another piece of walnut, and I'll glue that in just so I like the way it looks. So I'm just preparing my last piece of walnut to go in there. I didn't have any scraps, so I had to square up a little piece, and I just need to cut a little stripe off. So I'm going to use this hardwood small parts jig. There we go, 3 stripes. Now I'm ready to glue it together. Okay, so now I have all my pieces ready. I'm ready to glue them together. Now before you decide to glue something together, you always want to be well prepared. We only have a class period to work, so you don't want to glue right the last 5-10 minutes of class, because if things go wrong, you want time to fix it. I like to always have wet cloth. I have my glue. I have all my clamps set up and ready to go at the right size and set up. Glue-ups, this is a pretty easy one, but they get pretty big and intricate, and so if glue-ups don't go well, then things can really not work out for you. And then my thing is I put it how I want, and I'm consistent about how I place my pieces. I'll put yellow glue on the edge of each one. And how much glue to use? You just want to cover that whole edge of each piece without making a huge mess, because you're going to have to clean up all your drips. But you do use more than when you assemble, because you can plane off most of this glue. And then I like to spread it all along the edge there so it covers the whole edge. There's different sticks and spreaders that people use. If you don't have enough glue, you can always add a bit more. Once you start gluing something together, you have about 5 to 10 minutes to make it all work out, get it all together and all good and square before it gets totally stuck together. Now, that's not a problem with this lid. That should be easy to fit within that time limit. When you're putting together a cabinet, however, you have to be very time sensitive. Glue on all my pieces, and now I'm ready to use these bar clamps. Bar clamps are by far the best for gluing boards together. They're a lot stronger than others. And you like to lay your pieces on top of them. And try to keep them all flat and good and adjust them so it's not a big cup shape or something. Mine are wanting to slide out a bit.